So this is something that I don't do, but honestly, I'm going to do it for two reasons. One, I ran 20 miles today, and I'm just completely exhausted, and I've shot nothing, and it is currently 3:45 in the afternoon. And two, I wanted to do this because I do use this camera a lot, and there are some things that I like about it, but there are also some things that I wish were a little bit different. And being that I've used this thing pretty much every day since it originally came out, I think I have a couple of opinions that are founded. Now, this video can be considered a long-term review of the Insta360 Go 3. I just got the standard version when it originally came out. This was before the black one came out, which I do think the black one does look a lot better, but they didn't have it at the time. And this is the one that this was pretty much the only option for me. Now let's go with the things that I do like about it before the things that I don't like about it. There's a lot that I do like about this. First, I love how small this thing is. Like, even if the camera was attached and stayed in this pod, I find this incredibly useful for a lot of reasons. If I needed to go smaller, which I do, I would just pop this thing out, and this is literally the camera. This is the camera, and this is just the little action pod that it stays in. And for like action sports or running or anything where you don't want to have a camera you want to focus on other things besides the camera, but you still need a camera, this thing is incredible. It's very, very lightweight. It looks okay, and it produces a decent image in proper lighting environments. And I found that it's been very, very, very dependable. I mean, look at the scuffs on this guy. Like, I don't know if you can see the scuffs along the edge of this little lens protector, but it has been dropped multiple times, and it's held its own. Like, it's been really, really good to me, and it's worked most of the time when I need it to, and I've had this in a lot of different environments and a lot of different shooting. Well, it could be challenging for some cameras, and it's done great. And then on top of that, when you put it back into this pod, you get this flip-up screen that is honestly pretty amazing. Like, if I ever need to vlog with this thing, then it's incredibly easy. I just literally flip this thing up, and the battery life goes from I think it's 45 minutes or something like that with just this little pod, and it basically over doubles the battery life on the whole device. I've never actually ran out of battery life with just using this guy because of the way I have this set up, but if I ever did, then this would just it would be able to charge pretty quickly when it's put back into the original housing. Now with this setup, I do have the grids on, and you can do this with most cameras, and I really do like having the grid because it helps me frame shots up. And I do it on my iPhone. I do it on this camera, on the camera that I'm shooting on right now. Like, every camera that I use, for the most part, has the grid on there. Now, I did mention that this only has 40%, or it only has 40 minutes of battery life. But the cool thing about this camera is that you can set up something called quick capture. And basically what I do is when I'm running and stuff like that, I only have this, and my runs are obviously longer than 40 minutes. And I've never run out of battery. I've never come close to running out of battery. And it's because all I have to do, if I have this in my hand and I want to record something, I just hit the little button right down there, give it a couple of seconds, and it's recording right now. And when I'm done, I'll click it again, it'll make a noise, and the camera's turned off. Basically meaning I'm only using battery when I'm recording something, and I'm not just leaving it on to let the battery just go to waste. Those are the things that I love about this camera, and again, it's been super, super dependable, especially for something that I just need to work and be super, super simple. I don't want to spend time trying to figure out why this camera isn't working. And I don't, honestly, everything on this camera is fully automated. I don't worry about aperture, I don't worry about ISO or anything like that. Versus this camera, I spend a lot of time making sure everything looks good, so the picture looks as good as I possibly can get it. But with this camera, it's literally a point and shoot, and I love it for that. let's go over a couple other things that I wish were a little bit different. First off, this first one, I realized you can't really change much about this, and that's totally fine, but I do wish that there was a way to get better audio to this camera. The audio sounds fine, and it's definitely passable, but for those of you that know or watch any of my other videos, I bitch and complain about audio a lot because I kind of am an audio snob. And the audio on this, like the microphones and stuff, they work and they function, but they're not anything great. I will say I don't like when the camera is in this pod, because it has a bunch of different microphones on here, and I found that these microphones don't sound nearly as good as this singular microphone on the Insta360 camera itself. When I put it in this little pod thing, it sounds different. I don't know if it's because of the extra microphones or what it is, but it just doesn't sound as good as just when I have the camera in just by itself. The other thing that I do wish was a little bit different, or was different, was this only shoots in 2K. It doesn't shoot in 4K, and all my videos are 4K, meaning that every time I put this camera, put the footage in my timeline, if it's a 4K timeline, I'm having to upscale this. Every clip is going to have to be upscaled, which in the grand scheme of things isn't that big of a deal, but when you're editing and you just want to go fast, that's really, really, really annoying. I'm hoping that the Insta360 Go 4 is going to be 4K. I have a feeling that it's going to be. But for the Go 3, if I was trying to look for something to complain about, it would be that this camera is not in 4K. And honestly, those are pretty much the only two gripes that I do have. Now, I do realize that this is an action camera and it doesn't look as pretty as this camera, my Sony a7S III, or any kind of mirrorless camera. And I'm okay with that. Honestly, when I shoot with this camera, I know what the image is going to look like. It's dependable and it has the action camera look, and that's okay. So the only things that I could really complain about is it being 2K and just the audio. But other than that, this is an incredible device, and it's held up really, really well for everything that I've put it through. Like I said, I've literally used this every single day since it's come out. And I mean, I also didn't even mention that this is magnetic, meaning that anything that's metal, it can attach itself to. So I pretty much don't ever have to use a tripod for this guy. And it makes mounting thing, it makes having this being used as a main camera on a run or something like that, being able to just attach it to a light post or a pole of any sort that's any kind of metal, and have to be able to get a talking head, is incredibly effective, and it's really, really useful. It's honestly why I use this over my iPhone, because I have my iPhone with me on my runs, and this is I'm taking an extra piece of gear with me, but I'm willing to do that because of the versatility that this thing offers and the overall just dependability of this thing. It's a rock solid device, and if you're looking at getting one, or you're concerned, or you're trying to figure out if you should get one or not, if you have the money and you're looking for an action camera, I would say get this over other action cameras. And I do have other ones from Insta360. I have this Insta360 One RS, and it's a great camera, and it has a 4K mod and all that stuff. But I often choose this guy over this guy purely because of the size. I mean, look how small this is. This can go into places that this guy with the 4K mod can't, and it certainly my a7S III can't go in. Okay, I'll put a link down below for this guy, and if you want to check him out, feel free to just, if you want an easy way to get to it, it'll be down there. If you like this kind of video, let me know. I know this isn't normally my kind of I'd never do this tabletop down type of thing, but I just figured I would change it up and try something new. And tomorrow I will see you back with a regularly scheduled vlog. Okay.